Welcome, Geoff, to Lady Joanna Thornhill School. Really warm welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, our children are really excited. They're going to be interviewing you shortly. But what is Finishing the Dream?
So Finishing the Dream is my next big project to take a powerboat, a 30-foot powerboat, around Great Britain. We leave in 8 weeks' time from London. I use a wheelchair. I've been in a wheelchair for 40 years, and the boat has been adapted for me to drive it and to navigate it around the country. And I'm doing it to inspire more disabled people to get on the water. Primarily, that's what I want to do.
So our children have some hard-hitting questions for you, so be prepared. But they're really excited to meet you, and we'd really love to be able to use that as part of some education materials that we're developing to run alongside your trip.
That's a fantastic idea. That's great, because we're stopping at 15, 16, maybe 17 stops, so I guess there's lots of interest as we make our way around.
Yeah, so our plan is that we will create materials that will go with each stop, recommended for all sorts of ages, along with some reading to accompany it.
So you're going to follow me?
We're going to follow you.
That's lovely, that's fantastic. Well, what we'll try and do then is make sure we get some content back to you. I'm sure with the team we've got, we can do some live feeds maybe and send back some video content.
Amazing.
And who knows what we're going to see. I mean, it's going to be another amazing project, exciting, adventurous, lots of wildlife. Not quite sure what we're going to see out there. I'm sure I'll get some questions about that.
I'm sure you will. So is the idea that we would be able to track you in a live way?
Yes, so the Finishing the Dream website has a live tracker on it. And from the moment we set sail in May, on May the 13th from London, people can log onto the website and see where we are. Is that a good thing or bad thing? I don't know. I kind of think it's nice that people know where we are, but yeah, we've got to sometimes, if we don't go because the weather's a bit windy or we get lost, they'll know where we are. No, we shouldn't get lost. We've got a really good crew on the boat with James and Sam and myself, and a few of us have done it before. So no, it's going to be great. I'm more concerned about the road crew in many ways. We've got the easy bit, taking the boat from A to B, but we've got 3 motorhomes that are following us and linking up with us. And one of those motorhomes is wheelchair accessible. So I've got somewhere to stay at night in my wheelchair, because many of these ports and harbours around the country, they won't have accessible Airbnb or hotels. So I need somewhere to sleep. And we've got 3 or 4 people on the shore crew doing that part of it, the rendezvousing in the morning and the evening, and then departing in the morning. I think our total journey time journey mileage is about 1,500 miles, and the cars are going to be nearer 2,500. So a lot of miles, a lot of excitement. We don't know what to expect, but I'm really looking forward to it.
So come on then, what's the worst thing that could happen? What's kind of the thing that could go wrong?
It's always difficult to know. You plan and you mitigate against risk. It's all about managing risk, and safety at sea is our priority. And we have the most amazing boat. We have an amazing team. We're all safety trained. We have all the right kit on the boat. So as far as the boat's concerned, touching wood, that's the least of my concerns. The weather is the great unpredictable thing, particularly because it can come up from nowhere quite quickly. We do have great weather reporting on the boat, but still the weather can change, and so can the sea state. So just because it's not very windy doesn't mean to say the sea can't become quite rough. I guess on a personal level, it's my health. I'm getting on a bit these days. My amazing adventures that I did were all younger, and I'm now pushing nearly 60 in a couple of years' time. But I've been 40 years in a wheelchair, so things start breaking a little bit. You get aches and pains, and we just need to manage that. So it may not be as quick as it could be, but the idea is to get around safely and enjoy it, and try not to hurt ourselves doing so.
So now it would be really great if a couple of our children, Tate and Violet, they're really keen to meet you and ask some further questions. Is that all right?
Of course. Have they been learning about what I'm doing?
Yes, they've learned a little bit about
Okay.
it, and they have lots and lots of questions and are really interested in the whole trip. So they're
Brilliant.
looking forward
I
to
look
it.
forward to meeting them. Thank you.
Okay.
To watch that. Right. Fire away. Go on then.
Tell us about this adventure and why you're going.
So the adventure is to take my boat, Wet Wheels, around Great Britain. It's a long way. It's going to be 1,500 miles to get all the way around. And we're not doing it all in one go. We're doing it in little bits because I can only stay so many hours up in my wheelchair, and I need to go to sleep like you guys. So we will do it in day hops, and we think there's going to be about 20 stops on the way round, maybe a few less.
It's not a lot for that many miles, though.
Well, that's a really good point, because when I sailed around Britain a number of years ago, about 15 years ago, and we went to 80 stops around the country. And this time, but the boat was a lot slower. So the reason we only need to stop at 20 is because the boat's quicker, which means we get there quicker. It's a bit like in a car, isn't it?
Are you excited?
Am I excited? Yes, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'm excited because I know what fun it's going to be, and it will be a great adventure. Because on the water you see all sorts of things, amazing things in the water, and it's exciting being out. I love being on a boat. Also, I'm a bit nervous, a bit anxious, because there's some very big waves out there, and we have to be very careful. When you're on the water, you have to make sure that you're safe, and so I've got a lot of planning to be doing.
And have you ever had anyone tell you that you couldn't do something because of your disability? And if so, how do you overcome it and
Go straight to it.
just not
This is a good question. I genuinely wish the BBC interviewed me yesterday on ITV and I didn't have any questions like this, I tell you. Yeah, I have, Tate. When I was a few times in my life, because I've not always been in a wheelchair. I was a fit and active young lad, and I had an accident when I was 18 years old. I dived into shallow water and I hit my head on the sand and it broke my neck, and that's why I'm in a wheelchair. So it's a lesson to you and your friends: whenever you're swimming at the beach or a swimming pool, always check how deep it is, because I didn't check when I hit my head. But the reason for telling you that is because before my accident, I obviously wasn't disabled, and I did things that I wanted to do. And then when I became disabled and people would tell me I couldn't do things because I was in a wheelchair, I used to get quite cross, because I knew I could do them, because I did them before my accident. Why can't I do them now?
Yeah.
Some of the reasons that stop me doing things, though, is not because they tell me, it's because there are what we call barriers.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't get into a shop that's got steps. I can't go visit lots of my friends because their houses have got steps or stairs. So, but if I take away the stairs and take away the ramps and I put ramps in, I can go visit. So, good question.
Okay. Why are you sailing around the British Isles?
So I'm going around again. I did it 15 years ago in a little sailboat. But after that, I started a national charity called Wet Wheels, which is a big motorboat. And the reason I started the motorboat is because a lot of disabled people couldn't go sailing or didn't want to go sailing. And I've suddenly realised that there's a big demand from disabled people who want to go out on a motorboat. So since starting the organisation 10 years ago, we now have 8 Wet Wheels boats around the country. And I want to raise awareness of what we do. I want more disabled people and their mums and dads to come out on Wet Wheels with their families and have a trip. And it's not just to ride around the harbour. Everyone, including wheelchair users, they get to drive the boat as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And how's the boat been made especially for you? Has it, what changes has it had?
So, when I designed the boat with the boat builder about 10, 12 years ago, I couldn't get on it. So we went and spoke to the boat builder and said, how can we make this simple. We have this little saying about keep it simple, and the easiest way was to put a door on the side of the boat, so I could put a ramp from the pontoon onto the boat. That made it nice and easy to get onto it. And then I wanted to be able to drive the boat, so we had another ramp which went from the deck up under the steering wheel. And it's as simple as that. It really is nice and easy. So with those two modifications, anyone with a disability can drive the boat.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging part of having a disability?
Gosh. I guess, crikey, frustration that you want to do things and you can't, because you have to learn to understand what your limitations are. So right now you couldn't, you wouldn't be able to jump over the top of the school, and neither can I. I can't jump over the top of the school. So that's two things we both can't do. But there's a few extra things that I can't do different to you, and it's that frustration at not being able to get out of my wheelchair and clean the car or go for a run or something. But you have to learn to live with it. You've got to learn to find ways round difficult situations, and also find friends and family that love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And don't judge you because you're in a wheelchair.
That's not who you are. You're still a person. It doesn't make you different, does it?
No,
it just
doesn't.
makes you special.
Yeah.
And also, about jumping over the school, if you gave me enough chocolate bars, I probably could.
But you see, one day maybe you will with enough chocolate bars. But you're right. It's how people see you. You're still the same person, but some people do look at you differently. They look at the wheelchair and think, oh, Geoff can't do that, or that person in a wheelchair can't do that, and that's not really fair.
No.
What you should do when you see someone with a disability is speak to them and speak to them.
And if they need help, just help them as well.
Just help them. It doesn't take much, does it?
No.
And you learn to understand and appreciate the person then, and not their disability. How are we doing?
Good. And do you feel like you're a role model to people in a wheelchair who don't believe in themselves because of the people that have been saying that say to them that they can't do it? Do you think you're a role model that is showing them now that they can do it?
I think I've become what we would call an unwilling role model. I've not set out to be a role model. I've done these amazing things primarily to prove to myself that I want, I want to go and have fun. I want to go and drive a big fast boat. I don't want to watch other people doing it. So that's why I created Wet Wheels, so I could do it. And then, without realising it, the newspapers and the TV come and film me, and people see it and say, "That's amazing." Geoff's amazing. He does all these things. But what they don't see is all of the time and effort, and my friends and family who helped me get to that point. My wife Elaine helps do all the things, get me dressed and things like that, and help me into the wheelchair. But no one ever sees that. They only ever see me turn up and do these things. So there's a lot more to having a disability than you see straight away.
Yeah. And if this succeeds, what's next? Like, are you sailing around the whole world next? Imagine, that would be so cool and so fun.
I'd love to. Of course, I'd love to. And I've looked at trying to do it.
How many stops would that be?
How many stops would it be? Well, the thing is, I just keep going, Tate. I wouldn't stop. I'd just keep going around the middle, all the hot places.
Yeah, all around it.
I did plan it, because a few years ago I wanted to do it. And I went to see a lot of very rich people in different parts of the world who I wanted to help sponsor me, because the boat that I would need for that would be a big sailing boat, and it would be quite a few £1 million to buy it, and I don't have that money, so I need someone to sponsor it, and then it could be a year to sail around the world. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, once you've completed this, I'm sure you'll have anyone wanting to come give you sponsors.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you want to come work for me, and then we'll go?
Yeah.
We need some more sponsors. Tate says I need more sponsors.
Yeah.
That would be brilliant.
So have you, like, you know when you said that you sailed around like 15 years ago, have you ever thought that, oh, at this moment I'm going to be
Seasick. So, I've been sailing since I was younger than you two. When I was a really little boy, my mum and dad had a boat, and I'd go sailing, and I never ever felt seasick. And then when I was older and I was working on boats before my accident, I never felt seasick. So the answer is no. I've sailed well over 35,000 miles at sea. I've sailed across the Atlantic 4 times. I've been around Britain once. A bit of a pirate, yeah, there you go. But what's funny is, well, it's not so funny. I've got my wife Elaine. Elaine gets very, very seasick, and so does my son Tim. Tim's 20 years old. He's a fireman. He gets seasick. I've got a dog called Wilf. He gets seasick. So my whole family gets seasick except me. You ever been on a boat?
On PGL we had to go on like a ferry together.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How about you, Tate?
Yeah, I've been on 2. I went one in Italy. I went Lake Garda. I went around the Lake Garda.
Okay.
And also, PGL as well.
And did you get sick? Do you feel seasick?
No.
That's good.
That was my first time ever going on
Was
a boat.
it?
I mean, the only time I ever felt seasick was when I was running around the boat because I was hyper. That was the only time I felt seasick.
Actually, I did tell a lie. When I was about 14 years old, we were sailing, my mum and dad were sailing to Ireland, and I was fishing off the back of the boat, and the boat wasn't going very fast, and we put something on the hooks called sardine oil, and it's fishy, and the idea is to catch fish off it. And then my dad started the engine, and all the engine fumes, and I remember feeling a bit sicky then, but that's the only time.
That wasn't because of the sea, though, was it? That was
No,
because of
it's the fumes and everything else. Yeah, and it's just quite right. Yeah, that's a good question. So how are we doing?
Good.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Supplementary question. So how about what we're going to do for food and everything on the trip? Because that's quite an interesting one.
Plenty of questions.
Yeah. So fish. I like that. We're going to be going too fast for fishing. We're going to be going really, really fast. So on the boat every day. When I sailed around Britain, I was in a little dinghy on my own, and at lunchtime my support boat would come up with a long fishing net, and in it would be a Mars bar and a pasty. And that was my lunch every day.
That's pretty nice.
It might be our lunch this time round, actually, going round. But so yeah, we're going to have to make food before we leave every morning, because we're going to be at sea for I think 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Fish and chips, but about 6, 7 hours a day maybe. So we've got to have lots to eat. And then when we get into harbour every night, the road crew, because we've got a road team following us, they'll meet us in the harbour, and I have a wheelchair accessible motorhome, because I need to sleep somewhere. And we talked about earlier about accessibility, didn't we, and barriers. And I can't go and stay at an Airbnb or a hotel because most of them have got steps. But I've got a wheelchair motorhome. I go up in my wheelchair and I can sleep in that.
Yeah.
And we've got one for the crew as well.
Oh, so it's not one of those boats that you sleep in?
No, you can't sleep on the boat. It's not big enough for that.
I thought that was the boat.
Ah, okay, then that's a good. Now we've cleared that up. No, it's a day boat. It's we wouldn't want to drive it at night anyway, but it doesn't have a cabin on it. They're not a sleeping cabin anyway. We can get inside out of the wind and the rain, but there's no beds in it. So we'll drive the boat, and the motorhomes will drive, and we'll stop and meet each other 20 times. And then the next morning we'll say goodbye to each other and meet again for the next.
The boats will get to know each other then.
And I start in May from Tower Bridge in London, and Dover's our first stop. We're coming to Dover that afternoon.
Do you think you're going to look at like any underwater wildlife while on the boat?
Yeah, what sort of wildlife do you think I should look for?
Octopus.
Octopus. Well, that's quite low down on the seabed. If I'm looking for octopuses or octopi, teacher? Is
I would say octopi.
Octopuses. We'd have to find out. Octopuses, no. Dolphins. See lots of dolphins. That's pretty cool. We see all sorts of things up there.
You should be find SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Yeah, imagine. He'll be down there somewhere.
Yeah.
See, if there's any dangerous things out there we ought to be careful
Sharks.
of. Sharks, there you go.
Pufferfish.
Pufferfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like spiky.
Yeah. And we see whales. Yeah, I genuinely, last time I went round, we see whales. And we'll get lots of film of them. Sharks. The sharks we'll probably see will be basking sharks. So they're the big ones, which are as long as this table. And they swim really slowly on the surface. But they've got no teeth. They've just got gills. They just float on the surface, sucking in plankton.
It looks like they're dead.
But a little bit, yeah. Yeah, we've got to avoid them though, because they're quite big.
Yeah.
Lots of them. And we're going, so Dover, along the south coast, then we go up the west coast of England, to Wales, and then we leave Wales and go up to Scotland, Northern Ireland, and then we go to Scotland.
Imagine you went onto the top of the whale or something, or your boat went onto the top of the whale, and then the whale just took you around the whole all the British Isles anyway.
That'll be cool. They need to go down to breathe though, don't they? So it's a bit difficult.
So, does your, like, so, you know your boat, you said, like, it had, like, doors and things like that, and, like, ramps. What, like, I don't really guess, like, what colour is it going to be?
So the boat is white. We'll show you a picture of it later. You've had a look on the internet, have you? So it's white with a red stripe around it, and it's got logos, which are these pictures of different companies that are helping and supporting us.
Also, like, sponsored.
Sponsors, yeah. And yeah, there's big companies. There's a law company, there's an aeroplane company, there's all sorts of companies. Because we need money to go round. We need to pay for petrol, we need to pay for all the adaptations, we need to pay for accommodation in some places and food. So yeah, we need to raise a lot of money to do it.
Yeah. If, like, do you think you're ever going to sail, like, in the British Isles again after this?
I'm sure that I'll do a lot of sailing and boating in the British Isles, but not round again.
No.
This will be the last time. It is great fun, and
Yeah.
we're going to have a real adventure when we do it. We're going to see things that, you know, really you don't get to see every day.
No.
And hopefully we're going to share them with the school as well. So you'll get to see those.
What's, like, what, so, you know, so you're going to go and see, like, whales and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing. You don't really know what you're going to see, but you have to look out for them because you don't want to hit one. Firstly, because you don't want to hurt the whale. But if you do hit a whale, it will hurt the boat and cause damage. So you need to constantly be looking for things. And also, sometimes things fall off big boats, like containers, and they float in the water, and you need to look out for those, or big lumps of wood.
Yeah.
So there is stuff floating on the water.
Does that come with the not wanting to be at night as well? Like, is that why?
Yeah, that's a good point. Going at night adds to that risk.
Yeah.
Because you can't see it.
Yeah, the whale kind of would blend with the sky if it's
well,
black.
particularly if everything is black, because there's no street lights there.
No.
It's just often cloudy and a black sea.
Imagine just a big street light in the middle of the sea.
I've sailed the Atlantic Ocean before, and it's incredibly dark when it's cloudy, but when the stars are out, you can read a book just from the stars. It's so bright. It's incredibly bright.
So, like, are you setting yourself targets of what to do while you're on the boat? So, like, so one of them could be like, I saw a school of dolphins, or like, I saw a landmark, or something like that.
Well, every day we know the route we're taking every day, so we know what we're likely to see. We'll know about the different landmarks, and we'll get close to them. We've got a drone as well.
You could get a checklist or something.
Yeah, a checklist is a good
idea.
idea.
The whale, the shark.
So what we're going to do, we're going to film a lot of it, and we're going to do little blogs and things, and we'll upload those and say today we saw something. And we know that the time we're going, South Wales, it's called Pembrokeshire, is the breeding season for a lot of seabirds like puffins. And divers and great northern divers and razorbills, and there are thousands and thousands of these seabirds flying across the sea, and it looks like a real spectacle. You know what a puffin looks like with their bright red beaks, and we're going to look out for those. So yeah, being in the wheelchair is going to make it a bit more difficult, well, a lot more difficult. And I think that,
One of the normal things that.
yeah, I made it possible to do it. The boat's accessible, and it means that we can, you know, every day is going to be a challenge, and it's going to take a lot of effort and planning, but it should be good fun. Yeah.
No.
My brain's empty.
Your brain's empty. You've asked some brilliant questions. I mean, really brilliant questions. Genuinely, I might have to get a copy of those and give them to the journalists in future.
Just say to them, don't worry, we can just use this footage, which will be for the children.
The thing is, I'm so used to answering questions, the same questions. I go onto auto, talk, but I didn't today. I think those that know me have seen me stumped, because the questions you asked, I actually had to stop and think, instead of just giving you the standard answer. So it's very good, thank you.
What kind of questions have you been asked before?
Well, everyone says, why are you doing it? What are you looking forward to? And then they say I know you asked what next. They always ask what next. But the questions you asked about disability and about how have I ever been said no? Everyone ever said no to me? They never ask those sorts of questions. And those questions are important because they're actually finding out about me.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done. It's easy to ask questions about the project, but actually very few of them get to know me and who Geoff is and why I do these things. So you did that today, so that was well done you.